All right, everybody, welcome in. Welcome into the second half of February. We've been talking about this quite a bit, right? We have a lot going on in the sky. We have an eclipse, a solar eclipse. We have a square to Uranus of that eclipse. That's all about disruption. And we have Venus conjunct the North Node, Venus conjunct Mercury, and a retrograde in Mercury. And I'm not even talking about Saturn, Neptune in Aries. There's so much going on here that I want to take it sign by sign, and I want to give you some thoughts about how this might impact you. And then I want to give you a tarot message about what is your best way of handling this, or what can be of most help right now, or what do you need to know about, okay? So right now I'm going to do a general message for everybody watching. This is about the midpoint of February to the end of the month, which is, believe me, a lot to take in. And let's see where we're going. This is really the beginning of an 18-month cycle, 2.5-year cycle, 29.5-year cycle, and a cycle that we've never experienced before, with Saturn and Neptune conjuncting in Aries at 0 degrees. Never experienced that before. Humans have never, ever. So we don't have, astrology is all about the study of patterns, really. And when we don't have that to look at, it's almost like we get to make our own meaning about that. There's nothing to go back to and be like, oh, well, the French Revolution, or, World War II, or anything like that. There's nothing really with that Saturn-Neptune conjunction to sort of be like, this is the pattern. And so when you're listening today, and with, there's amazing astrologers out there, what I'm sharing with you today, and what I want you to kind of take from it, and obviously take whatever you want from it, but I want you to take from it something that is actionable, practical. That's how I work with astrology. How can I actively and practically work with this situation? A lot of what we're talking about with this astrology for the end of February, mid to end of February, it can feel, especially with the square to Uranus, because Uranus is all about surprise, right? But that doesn't mean you can't work with the energy. It doesn't mean, oh, well, everything's out of my control, so there's nothing for me to do. In fact, I feel like this is a time that we're all sort of figuring out the new era. And however we experience it, especially with this eclipse in Aquarius that's happening on February 17th and 18th. The eclipse in Aquarius says anything that is inauthentic and unsustainable needs to go. So what we are asked to look at in ourselves is where are we being authentic? Where are we being inauthentic? How are we embracing things that are just unsustainable to us? And like, no more performative, no more external accolades for things that matter more than how we think about them, individually and as a collective. It's sort of like, oh, well, this was the structure of how society worked, and it was very, this is a construct we've all seen and have all taken part in different ways. And like, now we're kind of clearing the space for something that is more real. And I feel like that's going to feel great to a lot of us who have felt disconnect between what we're seeing going on and what the reality of it is. Those of you who are really in tune, I mean, you're on my channel, so you have a lot of natural connection to spirit. You really work your life like this. So that's why, for those on the spiritual path, and y'all are, if you're watching my channel, that's why for us, those pieces of it are likely to be more natural for us than other people who are like, have created a facade, right? as a matter of control or as a matter of fitting in or whatever it is. And those of us who are like the Weirdsmobiles of the world, yay, this is your time. Okay. The more authentic you are, and I've said this several times in the last year or so, especially the last couple of months, when you see like YouTube channels being copied in AI in a deep fake of a person who's not really the person, like, you know, because AI has no soul. The information can be there, the face structure can be there, all of that. But what they're saying, you're like, there's something missing. And AI will never be able to do that. AI will never be able to connect to soul. They can do a lot of stuff, can do a lot of things, can do a lot of stuff, but not that. So we have the North Node conjuncting Venus and Pisces. And that's one of the messages from the Divine Feminine. And the authenticity of the moment and the realness of the soul connection, the thing that grounds you, the thing that aligns you with spirit, all of these things are going to be highlighted. Things that before were thought of as radical or rebellious are now inventive. So those of us on the spiritual path who have been sidelined as, freaks, or, you're not part of the degular kind of life stream. You do different things with your work. You do different things with how you live. Your living kind of arrangement might be a little bit new wave, that kind of stuff. I think we're seeing how more normal that is. More normal than we think. So let's do a message for everybody watching. And then I'll go from Aries around to Pisces, and I'll give you a sense of what you might experience in the end of February. It's going to be clearing the path for the more authentic you. Might be a little bit challenging. There's the new moon. Sometimes might be challenging. Sometimes it might feel like, finally, my people. Let's see. All right. So underneath is the key. I see the transformation card as well. Check it out. Divine Feminine, the air signs, and trust. This is what I mean about things being like a little new wave, rebellious, inventive, radical, different. And anything that you have like kind of embraced that way, I think it's going to be celebrated. And at the same time, like, you don't care. I don't care what people think. I'm not interested in that. What I am interested in is that there's some kind of quilt that each of us brings a square to. And that is the new fabric of the new age. And I don't have to agree with or like your square, but your square has just as big of a right to be there as my square. And how do we communicate with each other about that? That is one of the keys. So what else is coming through? Because air energy is about thoughts, thinking, communication. And the key to that, trusting this transformation. Okay, trusting this transformation. 3 of Wands underneath. 5 of Swords. Whoopsie. 5 of Wands. Knight of Pentacles. Hierophant. 9 of Swords. 8 of Cups. And the outcome is the 4 of Wands. Now, I've been seeing this a lot. This is a general reading for everybody watching, not a specific zodiac sign. And we do have Taurus here. We do have Virgo here. And haven't really talked a lot about Virgo, but Virgo, we talk a lot about the North Node conjunct Pisces and all of that, but the South Node is opposite, right? The South Node is exactly opposite the North Node. And so that means it's in opposition to Venus. So there's something here about how we are in like a lot of conflict. There's a lot of conflict here, in even though like in conflict with the ideas, with the new things that are trying to come in. You know, one of the things that you're going to see with this eclipse in Aquarius is aha moments and downloads. And if you're fighting them, if you're afraid of them because that disrupts a traditional idea you might have, there's dissonance, right? Cognitive dissonance. And I think we're all going to experience something like that, where we're like, wait a second. In your own moments, in your own private time, not online, not as comments to, on social media. No. This is about letting go of control, letting go of past life, maybe traditional, that's Taurus energy, traditional ways of thinking, because traditional ways of thinking have gotten us into this kind of conflict, controlling conflict, telling each other how to think, telling each other, that how you think is wrong and how I think is right. And I feel like each one of us is going to have an experience, maybe in different parts of your life, because I really think that's how it happens, that we each evolve related to different different spheres right now. Some of us are really transforming how we deal in one-to-one relationships. I'll get to this in the sign by sign. How maybe how I'm evolving in terms of my message, or in terms of how I speak, or how I talk to myself. Maybe I'm evolving in terms of my career path, and I can't take it anymore, and I've got to speak my mind, right? Or I've got to have my ideas out there, because I'm seeing that the road of the traditional ideas just isn't working anymore. Or maybe I'm holding on to something traditional because that's my identity. And that's something that might need to change. Whenever you make something your identity, and I kind of feel like that's happening right now with the square to Uranus, when you make something your identity, it's really hard to uproot it. So I mean, that's something that could be going on here. There's this walking away from things. And, I feel like there's a sense of change in the wind in general. I know we're all feeling this. The Saturn-Neptune conjunction moving into Aries is definitely about identity. So what have you tethered your identity to? And the square of Uranus in Taurus to the eclipse, right? Eclipses are about disruption. Eclipses disrupt things. They clear a path. So I have a feeling we're going to get a sense of like, okay, here's the thing that I don't want to disrupt, but it's being disrupted. And then I'm on this new path. But I don't think we're going to see what the end result of that path is. So maybe the thing you're dealing with is trying to control outcomes, and I need to release my need to control the outcome. All right. So let me just get clarity around this Four of Wands, because I love this. I love that card. It's one of my favorite cards. It's like, hey, this is a celebration of a job well done, especially coming through all of this upheaval. And I don't know. I want to add the thing about Virgo, which is really the South Node. South Node is about letting go of controlling the outcomes, letting go of those things that hold us in place because we think they're good, or we think they're virtuous, or we think they're meaningful. And then they end up not being that way. We end up seeing that, oh, they're just getting in the way of my evolution. So the Two of Pentacles, the Nine of Wands, the Magician, and the Nine of Cups. So this brings up something I haven't talked about, which is the Pisces, the Mercury retrograde in Pisces. So Venus is moving into Pisces right now as I'm speaking. And then we're going to have the Venus conjunct the North Node pretty quickly. And then at the very end of the month, we're going to have Mercury retrograding in Pisces. And that is trickster energy, the Magician here. I've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now. Hello. The Magician is also Virgo, and it is Gemini, and it's about the message. So these things that we have been juggling, these experiences that we've had, they may take on a different quality in your life. So something, let's say, a particular experience, you're kind of classifying a certain way, or you're looking at it as this message to me, and you may get more out of it. You may get more insights, because that is what that is Aries. That is what Uranus square the eclipse is going to do. We're going to get more insight. But then the retrograde of Mercury in Pisces is like, okay, how am I spiritually connecting to my own message, or am I getting a lot of spiritual downloads because of what happened with Uranus? That can happen, and maybe taking us in a new direction in terms of what we want individually or collectively, or probably both. All right. So let's move on to the sign by sign. I'm going to start with Aries because he wants it. And I'll go all the way around to Pisces. All right. And I'll give you some sense of how these transits are going to impact you. So I'd love to hear in your comments if you're seeing those things, if you're seeing these shifts happening, and how they are impacting you. All right, let's go. All right, Aries, let's start with you. I'm going to talk with you a little bit about how all of these transits that are happening, how they might impact you. And if you want to figure out how to work with the energies, grab my Mapping Your Timeline course. That's my astrology course below. I teach you how to work with the energy. So grab that below. Let's get going. So first things first, eclipses are disruptor energy. And you're going to find that what might be disrupted by this eclipse is happening in your 11th house, Aquarius. And that's about your hopes and dreams, and also about the people you hang with. So it's quite possible that you're starting to see things a little bit differently. You might be shifting in terms of what you want to create in your life and what that looks like. And so one of the other things I want to say to you is the reason this might be happening is there's a square to Uranus and Taurus, and that's hitting your second house. And the second house is about how you make money. And you might be hanging with the wrong crowd to go where you want to go. Okay. You might be hanging out with, the same group of people, and you're feeling that it's not really aligning with where you want to go. And so all of a sudden there's this move from, these are all my friends and these are the people I work with, into a whole new area. Okay. If that's happening for you, this could pose some challenges right now because it's a square. So just know, but the disruptive energy of the eclipse may cause you to see this aha moments. And you might get the sense of like, oh, wow, I'm hanging with a group of people who don't really have the same ambitions that I do, who don't really, want to go in the same direction as I do. Or maybe even these people are holding me back. These are like my peeps from high school or something like that. And I really, want to branch out and want to broaden out. So the second thing I want to say is the North Node conjunction with Venus in Pisces, that's happening in your 12th house. So this is like a spiritual revelation for you about my worth and value and how I'm, sort of experiencing life. And I feel like this might be something that is, this is between you and you. This is not like another person is drawing me in a certain direction, although there might be a catalyst, people. But this Venus in Pisces is really going to show you like, man, I'm wasting my life in this certain direction, or these people aren't really going to, help me get where I want to go. So it can be a little bit mercenary, but it can also be a lot spiritual. That these people don't have the same values I do. And it's a waste of my time. Mercury is going to go retrograde in that 12th house later in the month, very late in the month. And that's going to give you a sense of spiritual dialogue between you and you. What are you saying to yourself? And it's about internalizing the spiritual conversations you're having. Okay. So that's happening. And just know that you might not be dreaming big enough right now. And this may help you. All right. This end of this month may help you. So underneath is courage. And I'm getting magic for you, which is so great. This is really about you taking some chances. And when oh, that's kind of interesting. When Saturn and Neptune conjunct at 0 degrees of Aries, right in your first house, this is really about you taking your power back. Magic, magician. Just know that the Mercury retrograde that's happening, so the end of February into March can be trickster energy. So this may require you to have some real courage when you take some steps to go in your own best direction. Okay. It might feel a little disloyal to other people around you and to yourself. You might be like, well, I gotta do what's right for me. And I can't be more loyal to you guys. I've got to be loyal to myself. Okay. So underneath is the 3 of Wands, Ace of Pentacles. Something big and beautiful is coming in for you. The situation is the 3 of Swords. It may happen amid some sadness, right? You're leaving behind, your peeps. You're leaving behind old hopes and dreams that maybe didn't happen. And you might have had some real sadness around that. Okay. The opportunity, 6 of Wands, victory. That's awesome. There's the Magician again, and the outcome is the Ace of Cups. So this is really what I said to you about you sort of taking the bull by the horns, which is ironic because we're talking about Taurus. The Uranus square to the eclipse is Taurus. And it's like my worth and value, my hopes and dreams. What am I really wanting? And this is about manifesting those things to come in. So that Mercury retrograde for the 3 weeks of end of February into March is saying to you, are you really on, is the path you're walking matching the direction you want to go? In other words, if you want to go to England across the pond, right, from New York City, you can't get there by car unless the car goes on a boat. Okay. You can't get there the way you've been doing things. So you might need to do things differently. All right. And this is also offering love. Venus conjuncting the North Node says this has to align with my desires. And my desires from the past haven't worked out. So this requires courage to go in a new direction, to have belief in yourself when, okay, I had belief in myself before too, but it didn't work out. And so now I'm going to have to make some new choices. All right. But I feel like this is really supportive of you. If you want to learn more about how to harness these energies, like I said, check out my Mapping Your Timeline course. Link is below. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts and your hopes and dreams actually in the comments below. All right, welcome in, Taurus. So like I was just saying to Aries, I feel like this time period may cause your hopes and dreams to change. If you're wanting to figure out how to work with this astrology, grab my Mapping Your Timeline course. There's a link below. I teach you how to work with the energies of astrology and the transits. So what's going to be happening for Taurus, this eclipse that is disruptor energy is showing up in your 10th house of career, of reputation. And it's almost like, since you have Aquarius in the 10th house, you might be kind of used to being a little non-traditional. And this is going to, because it is square to Uranus in Taurus, which is your first house, it might not be your idea. Okay. Uranus in Taurus in the first house is about our identity and our identity of being steady, stable, reliable. And to do the disrupting things, to have the eclipse do disrupting things in your 10th house of reputation may throw that up into the air. You may feel like your identity is not aligning with the career path you're on. And so it may be one of these things where I have a friend who's a Taurus, who took a job, moved here to Maine, and then within a year she quit that job. And it was a big public job. She was like running a college. And she came here and she loves it here, but that job just didn't match because of the political atmosphere within that college that you wouldn't know until you're there. So there's something like that the nature of your career path or reputation is much more unique, rebellious, and much more about the collective. Whereas your first house of Taurus is about like, I need to have my needs met. I need to have my financial needs met specifically. And also how people see me needs to be consistent with stable, solid. But my career path is not about that. It's about reinvention. And so this eclipse in Aquarius in your 10th house may bring in some aha moments about the direction that career is heading. And then the square to Taurus in your first house may call into question your identity around money. And okay, if I do this rebellious thing, it's got to always earn a lot of money. And maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's about a collective good. There's the new moon under there. It's about some kind of doing good for the collective. And your career path can be really about the collective, whereas your identity is much more about being seen a certain way, as stable and solid. So this is about evolving your public self and about changing how you appear to other people, because it isn't in alignment with the direction you're going, and your hopes and dreams may change. You've got Pisces in the 11th house of hopes and dreams. Right now, Venus is moving into Pisces. We have the North Node conjuncting Venus, and we're going to have a Mercury retrograde in that 11th house of Pisces. And so this can be, are my hopes and dreams really in alignment with my spiritual mission on this planet? Are the people I hang out with spiritually connected to me, or are they spiritually disconnected right now? And I need to find a new group of people that can show up. The Saturn-Neptune movement on the 20th into your 12th house. 12th house is, Aries is identity. Aries is about my own personal power. But the 12th house can be a lot of things that could be draining you. It's about hidden enemies. And so you might feel the need to go it alone. If you have done something that puts you at odds with people and you're not spiritually aligned with the people around you, then you might have to go this alone in order to fulfill your new identity, or in order to be the person you're becoming, I guess is the right way to put it. So your hopes and dreams can change. We're evolving your public self. And your spiritual nature may take a bigger role, okay, in your hopes and dreams. Who I am becoming is not as important, right? No, who I am becoming is becoming more important than how other people see me. All right. So let's see, that's a spiritual sort of advance. So you're getting the transformation card underneath, and you're getting the veiled card. So this is like, this has been happening for quite a long time. I mean, the things that are happening in astrology right now, the second half of February, are big transformational things for all of us, each of us having a different experience of it. But there is a sense of, for you, this might have been going on behind the scenes or under the surface, because you have Aries in that 12th house. So this is also about unseen enemies. Okay. And by the way, unseen enemies can be our own addictions. So these can be things that we have aligned with our identity that we're refusing to let go of, and that's blocking us from evolving. Okay. So here's what I'm getting for you. There's Emperor. What's underneath? Hanged Man. Okay. So you're showing up as the Emperor here, which is about taking action. Move that over there. Situation is King of Pentacles. That's you also. And the opportunity Hierophant, that's you also. So a lot of power. Okay, you have a lot of power, you have a lot of capability. Ace of Cups, and the outcome is the 10 of Cups. This is gorgeous. So this is a sense of like seeing the current situation, everything I just said to you about evolving your public self and about maybe leaning more into spirituality, letting go of the way of doing things, especially in the public square, letting go of a reputation, letting go of an identity. It's like seeing those things differently, right? Seeing them as benefit, okay, instead of something that's against me. Because I almost feel like if I'm not, like any kind of change is going to take down my power, which isn't true. You could also be dealing with a partner or a boss or a person who is clashing on power. You may be having some power struggles here. And I could see that with this Aquarius in the 10th house, that you're kind of like, well, I'm trying to innovate things and I'm getting blocked, or I'm feeling blocked by my own need to be seen a certain way. What's offered to you here, though, is the Ace of Cups and the 10 of Cups. There's some real happiness here instead of a power struggle. Some of you are in a marriage or a public facing entity, your business, whatever it is, that's a power struggle. And it's all founded in money and identity. And it's time that, isn't it time you move to be happy? It's going to change. It's like, oh, I don't know how to go from like, I always thought money and stability and my identity was the thing that, that makes me happy to have those things. What if I don't have those things? Guess what? That's real happiness. In the same way, it's like you're not losing like your whole identity, or you're losing something really valuable in the big picture. Okay, this is just a new you coming out. It's not the same you. Two of Swords, the Moon, the Page of Cups, and the 10 of Wands. There's a lot of labor being affected or being exerted by you to have a kind of identity. And real happiness comes from dropping that. So dropping that power control in the public arena and instead reinventing yourself. I care more about like long-term happiness and joy than I do about being seen a certain way. Okay, so this can be happening for you, Taurus. And I feel like this moon is really going to start this. It's a new cycle. All right, we're getting a new cycles coming in. Saturn and Neptune, we've never had that before in Aries. That's hitting your 12th house. So we don't know what that's going to look like. And it can really, Saturn and Neptune, Saturn is about structure and Neptune is not structure. Okay. And my power is in maybe not having such strict rules and regulations about how things need to go, because that's where the innovation comes in. All right. So when we get to the Mercury retrograde, that's happening later in the month, that Mercury retrograde is happening in your 11th house. This is about how your spiritual nature may become your focus. All right. So again, if you want to jump onto my class, please do. This is going to be a powerful end of the month. All right, let's move on to Gemini. All right, Gemini, welcome in. So the second half of February really features this eclipse energy that's hitting your 9th house. You have Aquarius in the 9th house, and that is the house of your belief systems. It's something that we plug into that already exists. It's not something that we create because of our own experience. Gemini, you are a very experiential person. That's because that's what Gemini is. I really have to experience it myself. I can't just, believe things. And this eclipse is that 9th house of belief systems, but it's Aquarius. It's there's the new moon. It's a trine. So it may feel like a natural shift from how you believe from something that you believe to be true into a new way of looking at whatever this belief system is. So what I mean by that is I have a very particular belief system about how we connect to each other, Aquarius. And because it's squaring, that eclipse is squaring Uranus and Taurus. Taurus is about what makes me feel safe and secure, but 12th house is about like past life karma. And it's also about, Taurus is about money and how I value myself and my self-worth and everything like that. My belief, what I'm seeing right now in the world can be shattering how I believe the world works and my own contribution, how I've been spending money, how I've been seeing money, how I've been trying to make myself safe can sort of be shattered by what I'm seeing in the world. So there can be some sudden downloads about like, oh, wow, what's my role in this? And how can I really work on that? Okay. There may be that sense, but like I said, it's a trine. So it feels a little bit more gentle. And the trine is you're a Gemini and the eclipse is an Aquarius. But the square is to Taurus. All right. The Uranus in Taurus, and 12th house is about our past lives, and it can be about karma, and it can be about the person I used to be, right? Or the things that are I'm hiding from myself. These are addictions or things like that to make myself feel safe and secure. What I'm seeing in the world being activated doesn't make me feel safe and secure anymore. All right. And so this sextile, it can be bringing in new aha moments about how I want to be in the world and the new things I have to learn and new things I have to incorporate into my identity. This doesn't even have to just be like the big meta picture of what's going on in the world. This can also be like how you think marriage should work. And boy, howdy, it didn't work that way for you. And there can be a look, the square to Taurus in the 12th house can say, how was I contributing to that? How was I trying to control things to make myself feel safe and had this mindset of how marriage worked? But it didn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And so I'm going to have to learn some new stuff. Okay, so that can be happening. There can be a shift also in your career to being more spiritually minded. This upheaval in your belief system can really change a lot. So Gemini, I feel like this is something that really might shift a lot in your life. Whatever belief system you hold that's being disrupted right now. This is something that's probably kind of deep and probably very sudden and out of nowhere. And it can force you to sort of move in more creative and different ways for yourself. Okay. If you're interested in learning how to embrace all of these energies and work with them, like I said, you can check out mapping your timeline, because really working with these energies are the things. This is the reason I talk about astrology. It's not happening to us, happening for us. So this is a big shift for you. Okay. We also have Venus conjunct the North Node in the 10th house. And your North Node in Pisces is really asking you to embrace something more spiritual in your work life. And Venus conjuncting that says, you know, what I find to be valuable and worthy about myself, I'm discovering these things. I'm discovering my spiritual connections. I'm discovering my worth and value. And there could be some kind of addiction to safety and security that's being disrupted. And it's for a good thing. It's for your evolution. All right, so let's do the little reading here for you, Gemini. Underneath is the Nature Spirits card and then Healer. Some of you haven't really seen yourselves as Geminis, or Geminis. Well, yes, you have. Some of you haven't seen yourself as a healer. There's something about nature being a very healing force right now for you. I know it's winter in the northern hemisphere, and boy, has it been cold up here. But there's some change in your career path or how people see you that is you're needing to heal some things. It may feel very disruptive. Okay. And then we have a Mercury retrograde going on in your 10th house of career path. And that's like forcing an inward conversation. You're very good at conversations. So this is forcing an inward conversation. And I haven't talked about Jupiter, but Jupiter in March is going direct in your second house. And that's going to be a really good thing to nurture yourself with your own worth and value. And Jupiter will really expand that. So that's going to feel good in March. But even though the Mercury retrograde is going to be causing you to have different conversations inside yourself. All right, we got the moon under here, which is what we're talking about, the eclipse. And then we've got the Queen of Wands, the Nine of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles. I'll do that. The Hermit, and the Ace of Cups. Getting a lot of Ace of Cups in these readings. And because this is a new chapter. This is definitely a new chapter. And I feel like there's something here about doing some work on your wisdom around relationship, or your wisdom around how you want love or to value yourself in the world. I feel like you only value yourself in the world as others see you, or as, is related to relationship of some kind. Your hopes and dreams with Saturn and Neptune moving into your 11th house of Aries, your hopes and dreams may change a lot. What it is you want, because you're seeing now that how you believed the world worked isn't how the world works in your own life, but also meta, right? In a kind of a bigger way. And you're getting a lot of downloads, getting a lot of new information coming through that people will visibly see you. 10th house is also the house of our reputation. People will see you as somebody who has become more wise because they're willing to take in information that maybe might have been hard for other people to assimilate, but you're getting this Virgo energy of the Hermit. And I feel like you're, really working with either becoming a healer or going to a healer, some kind of healing energy about the story of your life, the story that you're telling yourself, the story that you're putting out there, the belief system you've held. And that's really getting disrupted right now. So we have this Ace of Cups. The Queen of Pentacles says, I'm taking good care of myself. Queen of Wands says, I'm leaning into my creativity more. And that's going to be more satisfying for you. Nine of Cups. And so that's great, because here comes a new opportunity for that. It's like I change what my hopes and dreams are, and all of a sudden I get an opportunity. King of Cups, the Hierophant, the High Priestess, and the Knight of Wands. So if you believed you knew how marriage worked at one point, there's a change in the wind, because you're changing and maybe healing some of your own relationship ideas or belief systems. And along comes somebody who's very different. Very different indeed. Okay, Gemini. So there could be a shift in your career. There could be a shift in how you see the world, especially as it relates to relationship, because I'm getting that Ace of Cups. And you may suddenly, if like, for example, I'll make it more concrete for you. At some point, you might have been very pro marriage, and now you see the world very differently. And so somebody comes along and you're like, great, we are not getting married. And this is exactly what I want. I want us to live separately, and I want us to just have fun. And what is this a relationship about? Like, my belief system now believes, or I'm now plugging into a belief system that says, I want joy and happiness in my life. And that's my priority versus what I used to believe. Okay. So Gemini, this shift in your career, again, Pisces in the 10th house, more spiritual. I've got to do the work. I didn't say that to you, but Mercury retrograde in that 10th house in Pisces might say to you, well, I really need to do the work inside me because these belief systems are changing. And so the new belief system says, well, that old belief system took advantage of other people, or that old belief system was something that was harmful to myself. So I'm going to need to do some work here. All right. Especially on the story you tell yourself inside. Okay. That's for you, Gemini. All right, Cancer, welcome in. So this eclipse we are having in Aquarius is hitting your 8th house of deep transformation. And the question with the Aquarius eclipse is, how do I evolve to move forward? Not just evolve for no reason. It's evolving to move into a new age. And the Aquarian energy here is basically activating that 8th house of deep transformation. The eclipse is always about disruption. So what is it that you're kind of secretive about, that you're kind of holding back and don't want other people to see until it's like fully baked? I don't really think that that's going to be a possibility, especially because it's squaring Uranus in the sign of Taurus in your 11th house of other people, of friends and communities and networks. It's kind of like, okay, I'm evolving and transforming in this eclipse, but I need other people to help me do that. So I can't just do this on the down low. I've got to really be a little more open about it. And in order to move forward, it's not just like, okay, I've got to make these changes in my life. That's certainly part of it. But Aquarius says you're going to need to allow other people to see your uniqueness. And that's going to be public. And in order for you to embrace hopes and dreams, Taurus in the 11th house could be about money and could be about your own self-worth. How other people are responding to you is going to matter in terms of how can they help me? Okay, not just how they're seeing me, but can they help me? Now, you've got Aries in the 10th house. We've got Saturn and Neptune moving into the 10th house of career. So this could be like a new identity for you. And we also have Venus moving into Pisces in your 9th house. So there's some kind of spiritual shift that's happening here as you have this disrupting experience of this eclipse that says spirituality needs to take on a bigger role. Or if spirituality has been my identity, what is my real uniqueness outside of a group? That I can no longer identify myself as having a group identity. I need to have an individual identity that then I can that then plugs into a group activity or my where is my tribe kind of a feeling. But you first got to figure it out. It's not the other way around. It's not that this group is my identity. And so then I know myself because I know, I come from this family or I come from this group of people. It's the other way around. It's like, what's my personal identity that I have been kind of allowing to be dissipated because of the people around me. Some of you, or I don't know what the word is, like distributed. Right? If you want to learn to work with this, grab my astrology class, Mapping Your Timeline, below. You can learn how to work with these energies. Okay. So let's see what you're getting here. Underneath is stormy. The good news, I want to point out some good news because this is disruption that I'm talking about. But Jupiter is in your 1st house of Cancer. And that's been retrograde since last fall. But it's going direct in March. Okay, so hold on. Because Jupiter going direct, it's sort of like we're expanding the you. But, sometimes Cancerians don't want to be seen so overtly. This eclipse is going to show you how to navigate your true authenticity without making you feel so incredibly vulnerable. And that's because you're pulling yourself out of a group of people and plugging into a new group of people. It can also include your career path, right? Like maybe your career path has been your identity for a long time, and now it's not going to be anymore, or it's going to need to be different because you're plugging yourself into the economy in a new way. Okay. Growth. All right. I like this. Cancerians, how do I evolve to move forward? Especially if those of you who are watching this have felt really stuck, boy, is this for you. Okay. This is a really good thing for you. All right, Cancerians. So let's see. 9 of Cups underneath. 7 of Pentacles. It's kind of stuck energy. It's kind of like I've been working on one thing for a long time. King of Swords, but now I'm seeing, how it's been a lie. I'm really starting to get it's possible that you have had a lot of collective hopes and dreams and haven't really known what your personal hopes and dreams have been or are. Okay. And we're now, there's a storm here that says, oh, wow, wait a second. I've been, it's like you can either have your own company or you can work in someone else's company and help them fulfill their dream. And I feel like this is about your dream. Okay. The Justice card of Libra and the Sun is the outcome. Lots of really great outcomes in these readings, the Sun, the 10 of Cups and things like that, even though there's some challenges around, because this is an opportunity, right, to see where you've been lying to yourself or to see where there's been a lie in your life that you just, sort of assumed was okay. Like you have Pisces in the 9th house. Pisces obscures and distorts belief systems, especially like religion. And it's like you're coming to some kind of terms with who you really are and what you really believe. And seeing the lies is making for some big change. Justice. Some of you have been believing things for a long time that have harmed you. Okay. So the 7 of Swords and the Sun going in a beautiful direction here. Leo energy. Queen of Cups, the Knight of Wands, Ace of Cups. Keep getting the Ace of Cups. And the 3 of Wands. So there's a person, could be an Aquarius or Leo or Libra or Sag. Somebody who Aquarius and Sag are much more like brutally honest. Have you run away from an Aquarian or a Sagittarius person in your past because the truth was like too much to see? And now I feel like you're ready for it. All right. I feel like you're ready for it. And Jupiter is going to move forward in your first house of Cancer. This is a major reinvention moment. Okay. And it's possible that for a long time, you weren't able to really see this path. I won't say you were lying to yourself, but you weren't telling yourself the truth either, because it wasn't what people do. It's not what people do. It's not what people did at the time. So now we're having this like collective opportunity to be our own true authentic self. And boy, is that different than what you might have experienced up until now. All right, Cancer. So this is really setting yourself free. Awesome. All right, Leo, welcome in. So for you, this may be about your authenticity. So I want to take you through some of the things that are going to be happening the end of February. This is a very powerful time in astrology. If you want to learn how to use the astrology, how to harness the astrology, the power of what's happening for your own benefit, you can grab my Mapping Your Timeline course that's below. So one of the things I wrote in my notes here for you is this is a reset of how you relate to other people. The reason that is because the eclipse is happening in your seventh house of partnerships. So it's about other, okay? And because it's Aquarius, it's about relating to others with more truth and authenticity. And this doesn't mean that you're like some kind of game player or anything like that, but there can be ways of being in relationship that you are going to see are very inauthentic. And you're going to have this aha moment of like, oh, wow, this is how I was just trying to stay safe in relationships, but actually it's very manipulative. Or actually it's stopping me from having happiness in relationships. Other people view it as controlling or something that blocks intimacy. So you're going to see this, and the eclipse is happening in your seventh house. So there can be relationships that are leaving your life. And this, you may or may not get the aha moment around that particular relationship that leaves your life, but you may have an experience where how people see you, your reputation in the world, or your brand is disrupted because of this eclipse and of this square to Uranus in Taurus. There can be sudden disruptions in what makes you feel safe. Now, especially as it relates to relationships, this can happen. This can have a tangential affair. Okay, maybe this can have an tangential effect on your career. It's making me think about how it used to be that, and this was my father, that men decided to get married because it was going to bolster their career opportunities, because people would see them as being more stable and solid if they're in a marriage. Now, that doesn't have to be a career thing for you, but it can be that something that is seen by the collective as making you seem more stable and solid can be having some kind of disruption right now. And so you're going to need to reorient yourself in terms of your authenticity, like no more secrets, or no more of these kind of behaviors, because what's really happening is it's actually disrupting my safety and security to be in these types of relationships or be this type of person in relationships. Oh, wow, I thought I was just doing that to make myself feel safe. And turns out other people see it as controlling, and that's destroying my relationships. It may also be destroying your career path, right? Your boss or your underlings may see that those behaviors as controlling as well. The North Node, there's, and anyway, the opposite sign, Aquarius, is the sign that is a mirror for you. And that's what we're having this eclipse, which is always a disruptor energy, sun conjunct moon. In eclipse, solar annular eclipse is basically shining a bright light on this for you. And then there's a square. So I'm seeing the jealousy card here. This may show up in some, I'm going to take it right now here, jealousy and what's on the top, trust. Okay, jealousy and trust, kind of two sides of the same coin, Leo, that because you thought you were being authentic, or maybe you didn't realize a certain kind of behavior, like, okay, how do I explain this? I thought everybody did it. I thought everybody hid this about themselves because it's unseemly, or because it's not, going to be acceptable to other people. Other people feel that there's some deception going on, and that's the reason why you haven't found happiness in a love relationship, or some control going on. That's a reason you haven't found happiness in a long-term relationship. Okay, so that's the challenge. Now we have this beautiful energy of the North Node in your 8th house of Pisces. And so this again is like a murky part of your life. 8th house is about shared resources. And Pisces is about creativity, and Pisces is about love and spirituality. And it's conjunct Venus conjunct the North Node in that house. So there's definitely something about secrets. And you may not, that word, you may not think of this as secrets. You may think of this as I'm protecting myself. Okay. So all of these things that I'm saying to you about like how you are in relationships and how other people, how you're doing your career, whatever, I think you thought that these were either acceptable or not detrimental at the very least to what's going on in your life. But if you're having trouble in certain arenas, then there may be a need to be more authentic, to be more transparent about things. This may even have to do with some kind of money situation, because 8th house is the house of shared resources. So there may be some kind of need to be more transparent, or there may be a demand that you be more transparent about money in a relationship or in a partnership or something like that. Like there's some belief because they felt controlled that you weren't being transparent, or vice versa, that the other person in the relationship is not being transparent in terms of the finances. So you may need to demand more transparency. Okay. I wrote this. There is a big secret that you will suddenly see or be made aware of, and you're not meant for a traditional relationship. Okay. That might be something that's, so 2 things. There's a very big secret that you will suddenly see or be made aware of. And you may see, based on what we're talking about here, about the mirror and about the partnerships, you may not be meant for a traditional relationship because one may be blowing up in your life right now or leaving your life right now. And you can look at this experience as learning that, wow, I may need something a little more new wave. I may need something a little bit different in my life. And the eclipse is basically saying, the square, right? The square to Uranus is basically saying, Uranus and Taurus there is basically saying like, okay, this may impact my ability to stay safe. I'm learning about this in my life. This is a lesson for me. So there is the star card, Aquarian energy. There's the world. The opportunity is the Magician. We have the King of Swords, that's Aquarius, and the 4 of Cups. There's a person, I feel like, that's leaving your life that has really stalled you in your own growth because of how you've had to be in relationship to them. I've had to, I've done these certain things in my relationship. Maybe the other person views it as controlling, or the other person views it as too like out of control, or whatever it is. Could be either side of that coin. And that is what stuck things. That is what made things get stuck. This person's reaction to how you were. And also there's somebody who isn't being authentic as well. Okay. So there's a big healing going on here. What's underneath? 7 of Wands. And, boundaries is going to be an important thing, but also like standing up for yourself. I keep going back to this idea that there's some secrets, some secrecy around shared resources. So if you are having that intuition, you're not wrong. Okay. The final thing I want to say about the astrology is Saturn and Neptune moving into the 9th house of your belief systems. This whole chapter is going to change how you believe the world works, and what you think is fair, and what you think is how you express yourself in the world is going to change in a big way. So you're healing something. And then this Magician, we have a Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde's happening in your 8th house. So this is internalized secrets. This is trickster energy. Any ways that you have been lying to yourself recently are going to really show up right now, and you're going to need to take some kind of action to fix them. So if if you have been believing a lie about shared resources with a partner, it's time for you to stand up and say, I think this is a lie. And I need to see the actual bank statements. I need to see how much money you spent, or I need to see, what your credit score is. Like, we can't separate these things because it is impacting me. And I feel like there might be some kind of resurgence of clarity and authenticity needed in order for you to evolve, because the eclipse is about, how am I evolving? Nobody is going to stay the same. Nobody. Okay. So there's a big secret you'll suddenly see or be made aware of that's showing up here. And like, how you take care of yourself and how you navigate this is the direction that you're going. And also be sure that it's the most authentic to you, Leo. Okay. Something, a little new wave happening here. So that's for you in the second half of February. All right, Virgo, you are up. So this eclipse that's coming up is in your 6th house. And this is going to be a moment to really change and transform how you're managing your day-to-day life. What's working for you, what's not working for you. And this is going to, this is going to be about an 18-month cycle of transforming the day-to-day, and also like your daily activities in terms of your work, in terms of your day job, that could be in some kind of upheaval or flux. We do have the Aquarius eclipse is squaring Uranus and Taurus in your 9th house. And so there may be something about your day-to-day life that is coming into tension or struggle, or these two things don't work together with your belief system. So let's just say that your day-to-day life, you've always been, an accountant, and you've worked for this company that you may or may not have paid attention to what they're doing in the world, or how they're presenting themselves, or the politicians they're giving money to, or whatever it is. But all of a sudden, it's an aha moment of like, how it's in conflict with who you thought you were serving, okay, by doing your day-to-day work. And you're like, okay, I can no longer do this. So there may be something like that. We have Venus conjunct the North Node in your 7th house. So there may be there's a soulmate card. There may be something here about a partnership that is aligning with your calling. You may find a business partner and get out of that job. Something that's very spiritually important to you, maybe changing everything. Okay. I feel like this square to the 9th house, the eclipse squaring the 9th house, is possibly also a challenge to a traditional set of values that is, you're recognizing that you are evolving in a different way. The eclipses are disruptors, but they're also showing us in Aquarius about where we're evolving to, and something that you are doing right now, or somebody you're working for, or someone you're aligned with, someone you're in partnership with, may not align with your values at all. And so things may need to change. Now, Saturn, Neptune moving into that 8th house of transformation, you're becoming a totally new person. So Virgo, we've got friendship underneath. You've got Cancer in your 11th house of friend groups, and Jupiter has been retrograde for a while now. It's going to go direct in March. Not until the middle of the Mercury retrograde, however. Mercury is retrograding in your 7th house of partnership, and Jupiter in Cancer is going to go direct March 3rd, I think. So this is an end of February reading, but I'm just giving you a little bit of heads up toward the future, that you may find a new set of friends, or a new tribe, or something like that, that has you moving out of this day-to-day life and into something new. If you want to learn how to work with your astrology to harness not just these, but any and all transits I talk about, my Mapping Your Astrology or Mapping Your Timeline course is linked below. All right, so you can grab that. Oh, check you out. Affluence. Interesting. Sometimes we might have beliefs around money that, you know, certain things are good and virtuous, and you might be changing that a lot with this, you know, some kind of non-traditional way of looking at money or values or your self-worth is coming into sharper focus for you. And I'm no longer giving away my time for free. I'm going to start donating my time to something that I find meaningful. Okay. So let's see here. Underneath is the King of Swords, Aquarian energy right there. King of Wands. I like that. That's the Aries energy in your transformational house. Four of Pentacles. And the opportunity is this Knight of Cups. So a new opportunity coming in is causing you to take action that is going to change how much money you're making, or is going to change the way money comes in. So if you have a 9-to-5 job, you get a paycheck at the end of a week or 2 weeks or a month or whatever it is. Now you might be having money flowing in every day. You might start your own business. You might change radically your day-to-day existence and how money works in your life. Okay. The Hierophant, there's Taurus, that's 9th house for you. Outcome is the 6 of Swords. So you could be moving on. The Lovers, the 9 of Pentacles, the 5 of Swords, and the Page of Swords. I feel like you could have a conflict with your partner. They could think that you're very delusional about what you're doing, that you might be going in a certain direction that's very authentic to you, and they don't like it because it makes them feel unsafe, or, you know, fill in the blank, whatever it makes them feel blank. I think friends are going to be very important for you to make this next step. Friends that are, that believe the way you believe about money, about time, about resources, about who we give our resources to, or how we expend our time and energy, who that is for. Okay. You might have been working for a company that you don't believe in anymore. I do feel there's the Strength card. It's going to it's going to take courage. The 7 of Cups, the 9 of Swords. It's like suddenly you see it. Suddenly you see it. Something you've been giving a lot of time and attention to isn't worth the paper it's printed on. You might have a contract with somebody. I had a friend like this who worked a whole year and got them new clients and everything. At the end of the year, they didn't give him the bonus they promised him. He quit that day. I would too. All right. So there's definitely something here that requires you might be learning new things through the shifts you're making, and especially who you're evolving into doesn't match what you've been doing for a long time. So this is a big learning curve for you, Virgo. All right. Big transformation. All right. That's for Virgo. Okay, Libra, this eclipse for you is about joy and passion and play and fun and creative self-expression. You have Aquarius in your 5th house of all of those things. And this is about how you're evolving with those things. Some of you may be very serious in your life and need some balance as it relates to your career, as it relates to how hard you're working, or that there's no fun in your life. You live a fun-free life. I doubt that for Libra, but you're getting more, and you're getting something better. You're getting something more authentically fun to you. Not just like, okay, everybody thinks this is fun. This is what you think is fun. All right. So that's happening. And we have a square from this, which is a challenge. The square is hitting your 8th house of Taurus. And so this can be about like, okay, the fun, is it costing too much? Are you paying too much for other people? So you might have that experience of being like, okay, well, this is fun for me, but like, why am I paying so much money for other people's fun? Meaning you take other people on vacation, or other people are taking advantage of you, or something like that. It's like other people's resources. And Taurus is the energy of our resources, and also our value and what we think is worth it. And so you might not have spent very much money on things that are playful and fun because you didn't see the value in it, but now you're going to. All right. Or money is going to come in that allows for that, because this eclipse is like a disruptor. It's a major change agent as it relates to possibly the time also that you're spending on fun and joy. Maybe you don't notice, maybe you don't know that your creative self-expression and fun and play, like they're directly related to your ability to make money. And maybe you're not, there's new moon right there. Maybe you're not playing enough. Maybe you need more creative fun and joy to really expand your coffers, to expand the amount of money that's coming to you. Okay. And you're going to see that. So if you want to learn how to harness all these energies for yourself, grab my mapping your timeline class in the description box below, and you can learn how to do that. Okay. So that's one thing. That's the eclipse, and then that's the square to Taurus. This can be this can also, the square to Taurus in the 8th house, there can be some secrets or things that are secretive, things that secret knowledge that you hold, that you find valuable, or that you're holding on to yourself. This may be a time of sharing it, or a time of aligning with it more and bringing it out into the world. Your chart ruler is Venus, and Venus right now in the end of February is going to be conjuncting the North Node. That's in Pisces, and that is your 6th house. So devotion to what no longer nourishes you, and what, not about what gives you validation. It's going to be about what you find nourishing, what you find valuable. Okay. And Venus is about what we love, what we want. So it's not so much about what other people are willing to give to us in terms of their approval. Like, we're really moving away from being sort of an approval junkie. Okay. There's also going to be a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Pisces in the 6th house. And 6th house is about how you spend your days. Pisces is about your spiritual and your creative capabilities. And the Mercury retrograde is going to change how you talk to yourself, so that you can stop worrying about other people's approval. This is going to be really important. So stepping into being a healer. Okay, Libra, home. All right. Some of you may want to shift the location of your home, or you may feel inspired because it's creatively more aligned with the person you're becoming. The eclipse is about who we are evolving into. And you have Aquarius in that 5th house. I also want to say to you, there could be a new romance that comes in that maybe causes you to shift where you live, to be closer to them. Although don't worry about it, because I do feel like Aquarius is like, hey, this can be a little new wave, right? Like, we might not live together or whatever, but you might just want to move your home because it's more of a healing thing for you. It's something that feels good to you, not because someone else is okay with it. Like, I'm not moving to live near you. I'm moving somewhere else because I want to feel good and feel more healthy. All right. So underneath is the 10 of Swords, 10 of Cups. Love and romance coming your way. Could be very suddenly. The Chariot, Cancerian energy. Something you thought was dead is coming back to life. Page of Pentacles. Gonna have to learn how to be in a relationship again. You might have been single for a long time, Libra. All right. The Fool. This is a new path. Ace of Cups. How many times, if you've watched all these readings, how many times has the Ace of Cups shown up? I'm going to, if we're on Libra, I'm going to say maybe 5 of the 7 readings, we've seen the Ace of Cups. And this is truly about you feeling good and healing and doing good things for yourself and feeling stable and feeling solid and really being aligned with what you authentically want to do, regardless of what other people will applaud you for. Okay. So that's what brings in love. No more approval seeking. 4 of Cups, 8 of Pentacles, the 6 of Wands is victory here, and the King of Pentacles. So there can also be a lot of financial reward for the more you become authentically you and lean into your creativity and lean into who you are. The more money, the more love comes your way, as opposed to being someone who tries to balance out everybody else. That is over, as we say in Boston. OVA, done. No more approval seeking, especially if that's been a problem for you. Okay? The Mercury retrograde in the sign of Pisces is going to change your self-talk. And you have been, I don't know, lying to yourself. That seems a little strong, but you might have been lying to yourself for a long time, especially if you've had some stagnation in terms of love, or you haven't had any love in your life for a while, or you feel like you haven't ever had true love. This feels like true love. And this person is very stable and solid, but also fun and joyful. This person, but not in a traditional way. Okay. Not in a traditional way, even though you have Taurus in the 7th house, which is very traditional. This is much more about you finding what you like. And that can show up in the relationship too. Like, hey, what do you want to do? Maybe in the past, that's been a scary question. But now you're going to be able to embrace what it is that you want to do. And the more authentic you are, the more pleasure you get from relationships, the more relationships open up and are happy and joyful. It's like, oh my God, I didn't know I got to be myself. All this time I was trying to fit in with what other people wanted. No, that's what this eclipse is going to do for you. This eclipse is going to shear away all of those things that were in the past maybe harming you and bringing you no happiness. So real happiness coming in for you, Libra. I like this very much. That's for you. All right, Scorpio. So this eclipse, we're talking about the astrology from now until the end of February. If you're interested in figuring out how to really harness the energy of everything I'm going to say to you and how you just work with astrology in general, grab my class below, Mapping Your Timeline. And that's the focus of that class, is to help you figure out how to use astrology instead of just having it happening to you. All right. So Scorpio, this transit, this eclipse is disruption energy, and it is happening in your 4th house. 4th house is the house that really grounds you, makes you feel nurtured. And so it doesn't mean necessarily that this eclipse is going to disrupt that. What it is saying is this is a major reset on what does ground you. So you might have thought all this time that having a lot of money, or having a certain kind of partnership, or having a really high level job, or just, your own creativity or whatever it is that makes you feel grounded and nurtured, this is going to change and evolve that. So you are going to have these aha moments that says, I always thought that this kind of thing felt like home, but there's some kind of like emptiness to it now. I don't care so much about that VP title anymore because they're taking too much of my time. I don't care so much about being the head of the PTA, or being the person that everybody comes to when they have problems, because I'm feeling drained by it. So what you're going to find is this eclipse is shining a bright light, a disruptive kind of aha, oh wow, insight energy, and on what the thing is that does make you feel nurtured and at home, and what feels like home to you. We're also, since it's going, so that's the awesome part. The challenging part is it's squaring to your 7th house of Taurus. So you could have thought that a certain partner or person made you feel safe, and it's like they're doing the opposite. They're not changing what they've always done, but how you're seeing it or how you're reacting to it is like, wait a second, that is actually not making me feel very good anymore. I don't like that. So there could be a big reset within your intimate partnerships. And then also we have a Venus conjunct the North Node, and that's hitting your 5th house of romance. So there could be a new person that comes in that kind of shows you, and this doesn't mean like you're having an affair or anything, but there could be a new person in your life that shows you what it means to feel safe and secure. Could be a best friend, could be a business partner. And all of a sudden you're like, wow, my spouse doesn't make me feel like that. I want that. And so it forces some change in the relationship. Okay. So you might be triggered by a friend, a best friend, or a person in your life because they're showing you something that you want but don't have and are going to be required to make some changes in order to get it. The Venus conjunct North Node in Pisces in that 5th house says this could also come from children. There could be something about maybe you didn't realize how much you wanted children, or maybe you are making a decision or changing an idea about your own creativity or wanting to go in a different direction or something. And I feel like it all really anchors on what, redefining your stability. This is likely going to force an inner child healing binge by you. You're going to really want to find where the safety and security is now. This is a brand new cycle. Okay. Changes in the family dynamics, emotional triggers. This could make you feel defensive, but really it's showing you what you do want versus what you have. Okay. So Scorpio, underneath is air. You could be dealing with an air sign. Here's your card, transformation. I mean, you should be used to this by now, right? This is something that you embody, being a Scorpio rising. And this major reset that is happening or going to be happening, we don't make intentions on this eclipse type of new moon. We allow for the aha moments to come in. Okay. Whoopsie. I upended that. All right, Scorpio. So let's get a deeper look into what's going to be happening with you. Now, I didn't even mention the Saturn-Neptune conjunction is happening in your 6th house. And your 6th house is the house of your day job. It's the house of also what makes you feel, healthy. So food could be part of this. Quitting smoking or starting an exercise routine or something. That's also going to make you feel grounded and feel safe and secure. So lots of things happening here. Page of Wands. Page of Pentacles. Could be learning something new. Yeah, you have Cancer in your 9th house, fellow water sign. Jupiter's going to be going direct in March. So whatever aha moments come through you right now, you may be like inspired to go in this direction to learn something new in order to embrace whatever this new thing or this new direction is. 10 of Swords. Tower. Are you freaking kidding me? 9 of Cups. Oh, good. Okay. And then the 8 of Cups. What it is that you want, like, you get these aha moments and you go in a direction, you're going to see. This is major changes in career path, major changes, redefining family roles, safety and security, shifting within your house. Some of you could be moving. Some of you could be letting go because Aquarius in the fourth house, some of you could decide that you need more space, decide that where you are living right now is no good. Some of you could decide that because that partner doesn't make you feel safe and secure anymore, you're kind of wondering why. This is the work, okay? And I feel like what you want is changing radically and causing you to go in a new direction. 8 of Cups. You could be leaving behind a home. You could be physically moving. The 8 of Wands, the Queen of Wands, the Temperance card. Wow, the Temperance card and the 10 of Cups. Look at that. So, I'm getting a sense of you might be inspired by a Sagittarius or a fire sign, someone who has left behind old lives. This person may actually trigger you right now. They may be showing you what it means to give up an old life, start something new, and be really fulfilled by it. And that may trigger you a lot because you're like, I was fulfilled by my own life. Why is this changing? Why am I not fulfilled by this anymore? So this is about redefining your stability. And it may or may not be with the person that you are partnered with. You may find that to be very destabilizing, okay, with that Taurus energy there. And Pisces, we have Pisces in the 5th house. This is causing you to really sort of go beyond your own creative boundaries and really transform. I feel like there's a new person. A new person that even if they're not a love partner or whatever, they are triggering major change. Major change in you, Scorpio. Okay, that's for Scorpio. Okay, Saggies, your turn. This time period right now is a meaningful reset of your voice. How you think, how you talk to yourself, and then the innovation of your voice proper. Like, what are you saying, but also how you're saying it. And this is about all types of communication. So this is a new cycle. This eclipse is in your 3rd house. And it is all about your voice. And, you know, are things in alignment? Is what you're saying what you're really doing? Right? Are you walking your talk? There's that part. You have Taurus in your 6th house. So that makes sense to me that this is not aligned. This may not be aligned. So the eclipse is happening in your 3rd house. And it is squaring Uranus in Taurus in your 6th house of health and well-being. So is what you're saying, is what is coming out of your mouth really what you're doing? And this is an opportunity to realign yourself. So if you're really out there speaking very strongly about certain ways of living in the world, but you're not doing them, this is going to be a problem. This is going to show up in your life. And you're going to be like, listen, I really believe in what I'm doing more than what I'm saying, or vice versa. Okay. Those two things are going to come in conflict. And since this is an eclipse in Aquarius, that's awesome. It is going to come into conflict with this day-to-day routine kind of thing. So those things are going to change. This really allows you a lot of clarity. This eclipse is going to be a reset in like, oh, I'm not walking my talk. Or I am, but by saying what I'm saying is somehow in conflict with something else, with my heart or something like that. So I've got to get these things in alignment. We have Venus conjuncting the North Node in Pisces, and that is hitting your 4th house. So this is about very compassionate conversation or even self-talk, especially self-talk that wasn't part of a family thing that was healed or needs to be healed. What's your self-talk? How are you talking to yourself? Now, the square that I just said, the eclipse energy in Aquarius in the 3rd house, squaring your 6th house. These need to come into alignment, and it'll bring some tension. So you'll notice it. You'll notice it. Okay. So if you're wanting to learn more about how to harness all of the things I'm going to talk about in your astrology, grab my astrology class, Mapping Your Timeline. You'll be able to harness all this stuff and be able to work with what's going on in the world, in the universe. Pretty good thing. Okay. So the eclipse in Aquarius is showing you where your voice is evolving. And you may have been saying some things for a long time that now there's sudden aha moments. So with eclipses, especially the eclipse in Aquarius, because Aquarius is the energy of sudden downloads, aha moments. It's ruled by Uranus, which is in Taurus right now. It's ruled by that energy of electricity. That's when they discovered Uranus. It was right around the same time they worked or discovered electricity. Electricity's always been there. We just discovered it. It's not like we made it up. So let's do a little reading for you. One of the things that can come up in this astrology experience that I'm seeing for this end of February is you may want to respond very quickly. And I feel like what I'm seeing in the astrology of this is to take a beat, relax, don't react. Get some clarity first before you respond. Okay. It doesn't, it might be somebody is like triggering you into saying something you don't mean. So just be aware. Okay. This is about redefining your personal and spiritual message. So underneath is Earth and affluence. Wow. That's a lot about money. That's a lot about money. I trust my evolving voice. I like that. I trust my evolving voice. So what else for Sagittarius right now? What else for Sagittarius? All right, let's see. Underneath is the Eight of Swords, is belief systems. Here you are, Seven of Cups. A little confused, a little verschimmeled. That's the Pisces energy in the fourth house. So there may be some kind of self-talk, and this is true for a lot of people, that comes directly from family or mother, and you're really holding yourself back by not recognizing that it's not really coming from you. It's from another person. Oh yeah, we're done with that. Ten of Swords. We are done with that. Knight of Cups. King of Swords. Outcome is the Three of Pentacles. Wow. There's no more confusion. I feel like this has to do with the new, let's see, you have Aries in the fifth house of new romance. Saturn and Neptune are conjuncting at 0 degrees of your fifth house. This brings in a new romantic partner. Could be an Aquarius. Could also be that someone who works with you, there's a partnership element here, but like your confusion is gone because that self-talk is changing. You're really working on that. I see that. The Emperor, wow. Four of Wands, the King of Pentacles, and the Devil card. Holy smokes. Okay. So this is a lot of, that's Capricorn energy, Aries energy, a lot of cardinal energy here, even Taurus. You have Taurus in the sixth house of your health and well-being. So what I'm getting here is that some of you have really held back from being in a new partnership because you don't really understand why anybody would want to be with you. This is coming from self-talk. This is coming from family, cutting you down, making you feel not worthy. We have the fourth house in Pisces. This is your regrounding. You're getting another chance to reground yourself Venus conjunct the North Node. Venus conjunct the North Node says it's time for you to ground yourself in that fourth house with the true nature of who you are. Because there's going to be an offer here that's very clear and very dynamic and very much moving toward a relationship, but you've been holding yourself back from a relationship for a long time. You might be choosing the people that are all of the things that your family was, and now you're really seeing things very clearly. And part of this is going to be your evolving voice with compassion. You're going to be able to be straight up, King of Swords. And that is attracting in another person who is able to be straight up. Well done, Sagittarius. This is definitely, a reset in terms of where you ground yourself and how you feel grounded. You're not giving any voice anymore to those people who cut you down. Well done. All right. That's for Sag. All right, Capricorn, this is for you. And this eclipse is happening in your second house. The second house of money, how I value myself, and, what is mine and what belongs to other people. So this is evolving. This is a new way of looking at your money. And it's aligned or not aligned with your self-worth and your own value, the sense of self. Some of you may have given all your resources and time to other people. Okay? This is a big reset right now in terms of what you value. And also, if you put a lot of effort and valuation on dollars and cents as opposed to your time and your own creativity and what you need, we're not moving away. We're redefining material security versus emotional security. Okay. That's what's happening for you. Aries is in your fourth house. So Neptune and Saturn moving into Aries. There's a real regrounding. A sense of what grounds you might be changing. If you're looking for ways or how you can harness all of this for yourself, grab my Mapping Your Timeline course. I teach how to work with astrology for your own evolution. And that's what's happening when we have this eclipse. You're evolving in a big way. We all are. Yours is about what is mine and what do I value. And I'm having a major reset on that. Okay. That's for Capricorn. Your self-worth and values. What is material security versus emotional security? All right. That's really important. Past life. Transmute. All right, Capricorn, let's see where this reading takes us. You are transmuting a lot right now. And basically transmuting is turning lead into gold. So things maybe that you haven't valued in the past, you may be valuing now. This is like past life energies resurging in your life or coming to your conscious awareness. All right, so let's see what's going on with your reading. Okay, 5 of Pentacles underneath. That is about valuation of money and feeling shame around money or feeling not valued by other people, even if you have a lot of money. Okay, 5 of Swords. Wow, what the heck? 5 of Swords, the Lover's card. Opportunity, 8 of Cups. This could be about a partner not valuing you, not valuing your contribution. Maybe you don't bring a lot of financial contribution, but maybe you bring a lot of time. Okay. And it's like, I feel like you have to fight all the time for love. You have to fight all the time to get resources. It's a fight. Okay. 6 of Swords, and the outcome is the 6 of Pentacles. This is much more about bringing things into balance. I like this a lot. So you're making a decision to walk away from a bare knuckle fight, like, the dog eat dog world, working on Wall Street, giving all of your time and energy away and not getting any money back or not getting any equal value back. Deciding to move away. The 8 of Cups and the 6 of Swords. You're the 6 of Pentacles, 3 of Pentacles, 2 of Cups, Ace of Cups, and the Seven of Wands. So this is bringing you a new partner. Some of you are changing partners. Okay. Some of you have only been valued for the money you bring to the table. Some of you aren't valued enough for what you bring to the table. I feel like you could also be feeling that way about the partner, that you may see their contribution as not being valuable, or maybe it was valuable in the past when you had little children, but now it's not valuable anymore. Okay. There's a new partner ahead, a new opportunity ahead. The person that grounds you used to be the partner. The person that grounds you in the future is you. And this is bringing in new love because you're valuing yourself more. All right, Capricorn. So we're resetting what we value in this eclipse. So get ready for that. All right, Aquarius, this is your eclipse. This is your new moon. And so happening in your first house of identity. And this eclipse is really a major reset. This is not a new moon to align or to set any intentions. I know. But it's the ruling planet. Your ruling planet is Uranus. Of course, you know it's the higher octave of Mercury. There's going to be some downloads coming in as to who are you becoming? Who are you evolving into? And it's time to receive that information, okay? It's squaring Taurus in the fourth house of maybe your family and, you know, the thing that originally grounded you, that is something you felt safe with, or a person in your life that you felt grounded you, but you're becoming somebody new. All right. Aries, we have, Aquarius, Neptune and Saturn becoming conjunct at 0 degrees of Aries. That is your third house. So this is a new way of communicating, that is stable and solid and also creative and expansive. So this is about your voice. You might really be passionate. You might really be reclaiming your voice or resetting how you how you speak in the world, that your worth and value, who you are, who you claim to be. Your voice is changing because your identity is changing. How you talk to people and how you share your ideas, how you share your thinking. This can be community and siblings as well. You might have a desire to have a new conversation with a sibling because you have changed. Okay. We also have, I'm just going to do your little reading for you here. Air signs and magic. In Pisces, in your second house of how you make money, we have Venus conjunct North Node. Your creativity, mission, and purpose around something that's more creative. I feel like you've kind of allowed family to kind of overrule all of this. And so now this second house of worth and value, you're really putting your creative expression into things that may be very different. It's possible that how money worked in your life is no longer working, and you're going to have to change how you're doing it. Okay. You're going to have to communicate your worth and value more than you ever have had to in the past. And by the way, you're becoming somebody new. So you might have to resell yourself in a very different way. All right. So you're reading, let's see, hold on. Sorry. 3 of Cups underneath. Oh, hold on. 3 of Cups in reverse. These have reversals in them. Knight of Swords in reverse. 3 of Swords in reverse. Let's see where we're going with this. Is this whole deck in the reverse? I think it's just upside down. Okay. Yeah, Knight of Wands and the Fool. So you're dealing with a Sagittarius, somebody that I feel like broke your heart. I feel like you had very rough conversation with, and you've been kind of stuck ever since. Okay, you've been kind of stuck ever since, but now you're going to be moving forward. This required that you take a look at who you are and how you're communicating. I feel like you might have communicated to this person something very, or you might have felt like this person treated you badly. But in fact, I feel like they told you the truth about something, and it really knocked you off your pins. And so now you're kind of like, since you're becoming somebody new, this person might have been a catalyst for you. That they told you something that was really like, holy smokes, I didn't realize that that's who I was showing up as. But it's like the truth. This is over the past few months, 4 months, 5 months. You've really seen what you like. It's almost like you took to heart what they said. And now you're becoming somebody new because of what they said. I don't know if you're going to go back to them and tell them that. You might, but it might be like kind of irrelevant. I don't know. Like, do they need to hear that? This is really, maybe they do, but this is a new path. Okay. So I'm getting the Emperor, the Seven of Cups, and the King of Wands. This is Aries energy. And we have Saturn and Neptune hitting at 0 degrees of Aries. That is your third house. So this is sort of like what I just said to you about, like, I don't know, do you need to tell this person that you're becoming somebody new? I don't know if you need to do it. I feel like you just need to do it. You don't need to talk about it more. You need to just express it through your actions. Your actions must match your words. This may also impact your money because there is a good opportunity here. I feel like this conversation that you had that was very sobering, I'm getting the word, was very sobering. You might have said some rough things. They said some rough things, but boy, howdy, did it make an impact. Okay. And this eclipse is having this same impact on you, that you're like, wow, I'm becoming somebody new. My identity is really changing. And I'm moving away from like leaning on family or those people that I used to lean on for my identity. I'm no longer doing that. I'm becoming the me that I've always believed I can be. And it was a rough entry how this happened, or how you took this message. But now your voice and what you're saying is more in alignment with who you actually are, instead of who you thought you were supposed to be based on what your family told you. Wow. That's for you, Aquarius. All right, Pisces, this is for you. So you are definitely in the mix of things. We have the North Node transiting through your house or your sign. It's going to be leaving your sign this year. But right now we have Venus going to be conjuncting that North Node. And that's happening in your first house. So you may have a revival of some kind of spiritual identity, or a real like refresher course in your mission and purpose, which is going to be cool. Mercury retrograding in that first house. So that is a little bit of trickster energy. You need to watch how you are presenting yourself in the world, and the way you're talking about it to yourself. Mercury retrograde, internal energy of telling yourself one thing and doing another, is going to be loud for a lot of people, including you. But first, the eclipse energy is happening in your 12th house. And that 12th house can be about a spiritual revolution, definitely with Aquarius there. Some kind of spiritual revolution, and very suddenly. Okay. You may think you're super spiritual, but I don't think you've seen anything yet. Okay. I think this eclipse is going to be a major reset on your, maybe showing you past life karma, past life connections, maybe getting a whole bunch of downloads or new gifts opening up. It is going to be squaring Taurus, in Uranus and Taurus in your third house. And so Taurus is about what makes us feel safe, and Uranus is about becoming uncomfortable. So uncomfortable, and third house is about your voice. So the things you're saying to make yourself feel safe, I think, are starting to make you feel uncomfortable. And this is definitely shining a light on past life issues or past life karma coming up in this life for you to heal. So a lot of really spiritual energy here for you Pisces. And don't forget Saturn and Neptune moving into your second house of Aries. That's like not that spiritual. Well, Neptune, your ruling planet, in the second house. So how you're making your money, or how you are, how you're making your money, or how you are becoming safe in the world, you need to ground yourself and have some structure around the work you do, even if it's spiritual, right? I teach a spiritual business course, and we talk a lot about, okay, it's great to be a spiritual healer, teacher, guide, mystic, but you've got to have a process, and you got to know what you are you doing sessions? Are you doing whatever? And how much money you're charging? And you need to be able to have a structure and a system and all of these things. Right. That's what's coming in. All right, Pisces, what's the reading for you? Woo, here's the new moon. That's the first time I got it for anybody. I saw it shuffling, but I didn't get it. And past life. You're going to open up to a lot of information about who you were and who you're becoming. The eclipse in Aquarius is about a soulful revolution. That's one of the reasons I called this channel what I called it. It is a soulful revolution that we're involved in, and this eclipse is a major reset of that for you and for all of us, Okay. All right, let's see what's going on here for you. 9 of Swords, 3 of Wands, Queen of Wands, Temperance card. That's, let's see, Leo and Sag, King of Pentacles, and the King of Swords. So there's a lot of clarity here. I really like this. But at first, there's going to be confusion. At first, there's going to be things that don't make sense, things that don't connect with each other. And as a Pisces, you're probably kind of used to that. But you're going to see that it's because of past life karma, not because of just the random chaos of this life in 2026 or anything like that. You can be like, oh, this is stuff that is related to my past lives. I'm seeing that now. It's showing itself to me. So I'm going to be able to lean into it. I'm going to be able to do more with it. I'm going to be able to not just be like, well, that's how it goes. That's what life is. No, I'm going to be, this is like actually Archangel Michael bringing you some structure around all the things that you have, your gifts and your capabilities, and saying to you, okay, here's how you might want to structure this. Let's do more of that. So you might feel more drawn to creating systems and structures and things. This is going to make your life work a lot better. Okay. King of Swords, real clarity going forward. King of Pentacles, real money going forward. This is how money comes in. Because there's something about like opening up your past life karma and going, oh, this is why this was going on. It doesn't mean it has to continue to go on. If you want to learn how to use astrology and harness astrology so you can work with these energies, grab my Mapping Your Timeline course below. Thanks for watching, Pisces. All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. If it was helpful to you, please consider liking this video and sharing it with anybody who might have a need for similar kind of information. And if you like this video, check out these videos.